Hello, is that the police? Yeah, I would like to report a crime. When did it happen? Saturday, the 25th of November, between the hours of 3 p.m. and 5 p.m. Where? Turf Moor, Burnley. What happened? We stole 3 points. That's right. Match day 13 in the Premier League. And West Ham were lucky, very, very lucky to get all 3 points at Turf Moor as we beat Burnley 2-1. As I said, we didn't deserve the victory. We robbed Burnley. I actually felt a bit sorry for Burnley. I love seeing West Ham win, of course I do. And unfortunately, that is the Premier League. That's what happens. But I've got to give a lot of credit to Burnley. You know, they deserved the victory. I'll be honest, we didn't even deserve a point. Um, Bad performance. Let's have a look. Let's go through a look. As you can see, their starting lineup. Probably the best 10 we could put out, plus Danny Ings. Now, I know I do give Danny Ings a lot of criticism, but I think he deserves it. You know, people say, oh, I feel sorry for him. What's that, 22, 23 games now? No impact. Doesn't offer anything. But, and this is a big but, I can see why David Moyes did start him. With Bowen being out, Antonio being out, would have been a lot to put on Mubama to start. Actually like the idea of Mubama coming off the bench, playing against a tired Burnley defence. And it proved. That's what it proved. It worked out. But look, the first half was one of the worst first halves of football I've seen from a West Ham team in a long time. And I've seen a lot. Especially this season. There's been a few poor displays. I know we are getting the results, but look, I want to be. I know we're not going to entertain every week. I know that. But it's getting more and more often that we're seeing displays like this. You know, a lot of players, especially in that first half, letting us down. You know, Paquetá once again, you know, getting on the ball, taking one or too many touches. But in his defence, when he's getting that ball, when he's looking around, there's no one dropping to receive that ball. No one looking to take the ball off of Paquetá. You know, when he turns, when he looks in front of him, what's he got? He's got a Danny Ings jogging about, not making the runs. Where if Bowen was on the pitch and Antonio, you know, Paquetá can hit that ball into the channels, and he knows they will chase it down. Kudus, you know, poor half from him. You know, I know that he did shine towards the end of the game, but I just thought he was very quiet in the first half. Once again, you know, not getting involved in the game. Burnley, for me, were just running the first half. You know, Collar Show, you know, was running the show. You know, what a player he is. I can't see him staying at Burnley long, especially if they get relegated. I think there'll be a few Premier League teams looking for him. But we was very lucky in that first half because they should have had a penalty. Now, VAR obviously looked at it. The referees looked at it, he's taking advice, and they didn't give the penalty. I thought it was a penalty. We were very, very lucky to get away with that. I think Burnley were very unlucky. I can see why Vincent Kompany was very angry at that decision. But sometimes, you know, we need things like that to go for us, especially when we're playing so poor. You know, the midfield, once again, Ward-Prowse, Souček, Alvarez, just not really getting involved, just doing the basics, you know, breaking up the play, but going backwards because they've got nothing going forwards. And, you know, to get in 0-0 at half time, I thought we was very lucky. Second half, you know, David Moyes, once again, another team talk comes out and we concede an early goal once again. I don't know what it is. How many times is it this season that we've seen that we've come out in the second half and then we start so bad and we concede? You know, this time, a penalty for Burnley, which I didn't think was a penalty. I think he's kicked the floor, gone down, very harsh on Kudus. But I think what the referee's probably done there is he's probably gone in at half time, looked at his monitor and thought, do you know what? Yeah, I should have given that penalty in the first half. So any chance that he was going to get to give a penalty in that second half, he was going to give it, and straight away played into the referee's hands, gives the penalty. And look, Rodriguez, straight down the middle. Areola sticks his leg out. Look, it's a good penalty, straight down the middle. And Burnley deserved the 1-0 lead. You know, I could not see us getting back into this game. I thought it was going to be another game where Burnley would go and get the second goal and probably go and get a third and get their first home victory in the Premier League this season. But we rode our luck. They missed a couple of opportunities. And then the turning point of the game come in the 62nd minute when Danny Ings and Alvarez were taken off for Mubama and Benrahma. Alvarez done nothing wrong. Don't get me wrong. I'm not going to say he had a poor game, but you leave Souček on for one reason, because he can get you a goal. You leave Ward-Prowse on because even though he's having a poor game, his corners, his free kicks, you know, he can assist and create something. So I can see why Moyes made that decision. The Danny Ings one was obvious. He was poor. Didn't even bother clapping our end, I don't think. Clapped the Burnley fans. Sat back on the bench. He had the ump coming off. Listen, I'm getting 125 grand a week for jogging about. I'll be smiling from ear to ear. But yeah, Mubama comes on. He gets his chance. And this is what I was saying the other week about Mubama. He ain't going to have many touches, but what he does do is he causes players to panic. He causes their goalkeeper to think about things when he's kicking it out. He causes their back four when they're playing it about, because Mubama will chase that ball down, and that is exactly what he did. And he caused panic in the Burnley back four. And when I see him doing that, even though we was playing so poor, I still thought to myself, do you know what? We can get something out of this game. And then it took until the 86th minute for us to do something, for Kudus to turn up. But Kudus in that last 10 minutes, you know, showed why he is going to be an important player this season. Our star boy put in a star performance for 10 minutes and he shined. And what he done was he got on that ball because the Burnley back four were getting tired. Mubama was chasing it down, causing them to make mistakes. And Kudus just got on that ball. Great ball in. He's caused a little bit of panic. We all thought Mubama got his first Premier League goal, but it did go down as a Dara O'Shea own goal. But I'm going to give it to Mubama anyway because he deserved it with everything that he'd done, you know, chasing the ball down. Put it this way, if Kudus would have got that ball in that position and put that ball in, Danny Ings would have been 10 minutes behind that move and he would never have been there. And that probably would have been a great, an easy catch for the goalkeeper or a clearance for the defender. But Mubama was there, caused havoc, and it's gone in. And did we deserve the equaliser? Probably not, but we've got it. And then you could just get that feeling around the crowd in Turf Moor that they was on the edge. They were panicking. They could see what was coming. And West Ham, what we done was we kept going. We kept going. And, you know, we get the corner. Ball comes out. Ward-Prowse plays Kudus in. Kudus 1-2. Third touch. Great ball into the box. And there's that man, Thomas Souček, once again, digging in, getting us out of the shit, getting the winner. You know, we've done the same against Nottingham Forest. Great finish at the back post. He's spinning around like Kylie Minogue in her video. Yeah, you know, this is why you keep Souček on the pitch. He's in a good bit of form lately for club and country. I think there's 4 goals in his last 4 games for club and country. He's not everyone's cup of tea, but he's my cup of tea. I like Souček. Sometimes he does frustrate you, but that's why you have him on the pitch, because he produces moments like that. And he's dug us out of he's dug a lucky victory out there. You know, Kudus and Souček and Mubama have earned us them 3 points there. Got to say, look, as I said earlier, I felt sorry for Burnley. I thought Santaberg in midfield, Brownhill, I thought they played really well. They didn't deserve to be on the losing team, but that is Premier League football, unfortunately, and that's what happens. So yeah, we nicked the 3 points, as I said. You know, I think there would have been a lot of calls to the police, you know, making complaints that we robbed them of the 3 points, and that's what happens. But yeah, it wasn't a great performance. You know, one of the worst performances I've seen this season. Shows how much we actually miss Jarrod Bowen and Antonio in games like that. But one thing Mubama has done now is that when Bowen and Antonio come back in, he's not going to be in front of them, But what he has done, he's pushed himself up the pecking order. Well, I hope so, Moyes. I hope so. I hope he's pushed himself in front of Danny Ings now, that when you look on that bench, you don't look for Danny Ings. You look for Mubama, young, hungry, loves the football club, just wants to play football. As you see by his celebration, it's his time. Give him the time, because that's what he can do. Back at Topola on Thursday night, give him a start. See what he can do from the start. But yeah, look, when you look at the season on a whole, yes, we're 9th in the Premier League. We're in the quarterfinals of the Carabao Cup against Liverpool. Good chance of winning that as well. We're joint top in the Europa League. Got a good chance of winning that group and progressing to the last 32 in March, or last 16, I think it is. But we need to improve. Performances have to improve, because first half, my wife's sitting there putting up the Christmas tree while I'm watching the game. I'm actually sitting there thinking I'd rather untangle the lights than watch this. But, we have to improve it. Look, this season can still be a successful season. As I said, we've got a chance of progressing in the Carabao Cup. We can have a good run in Europe, and we start picking up the performances in the league. We're not going to get top 4. We're definitely not going to win it. We know that, but we can push up the table and try to break into them European spots. But back at Topola coming up in a week, and then there's a run of 3 London derbies starting at home this weekend against Crystal Palace. Then we play Spurs and Fulham away. 3 tough games, 3 games that we can get points from, but we have to improve. As for players' performances, back 4, Areola didn't really have much to do, be honest. Back 4, I thought we was all right. Soufal, he had a tough afternoon against Colasho. Zuma and Aguerd, once again, I thought they was solid at the back. Emerson up and down as always. And as I said, I spoke about the other players. Kudus for me, man the match out of a poor bunch, but his 2 assists, saved us. And yeah, it was a tough victory against a tough team, looking desperate for points on the road, and they're desperate for points at home. So yeah, it's one of them victories. It's one of them. When you're out clubbing when you're younger, you always want a 9 out of 10 bird, but sometimes you've got to settle for the 8 or below. At the end of the night, you still get the same result. 3 points is all that matters. But we need better performances. So yeah, that was it for West Ham. As you know, this is that was the weekend show. So what I do is I'll quickly go around the rest of the Premier League action, and let's get the Premier League results up here. So match day 13 started with great fixture, Man City versus Liverpool. I watched this game, decent game of football, 2 teams going toe to toe, like 2 heavyweight boxers jabbing, waiting to see who's going to get the knockout blow, but it ended in a draw. Haaland with the opener for City. Both teams had chances, but Trent Alexander-Arnold equalised. Great finish, by the way. What a player he is. Exciting future in the game. You can see he's taken to his new role now, getting on the score sheet in a big game like that. And look, it was probably a point was what they both deserved in the end. Next up, Luton versus Crystal Palace. What a moment this was for Luton. First home victory in the Premier League. 1-0 up. Elise equalised for Crystal Palace. Great strike by the way. Thought that was going to be goal of the weekend, but we'll come to that later. And then Jacob Brown gets the winner, writes himself into Luton history. And yeah, it's a massive victory for Luton. And look, a lot of people wrote Luton off at the beginning of the season, including myself. I didn't even think they'd get 10 points this season, but they're proving a lot of doubters wrong. And if they're going to get most of their points, are probably going to come at Kenilworth Road. It's a tough place to go. So, yeah, great victory for Luton. Next up, Newcastle 4, Chelsea 1. Great game of football this. Isaac put Newcastle 1-0 up. Raheem Sterling with a great free kick. He's had a great season for Chelsea. Even though Chelsea haven't been performing great, Sterling's probably been their standout performer. And then after that, Newcastle stole the show, stole the points. Well, they didn't steal them. They earned them. They deserved every single point they got. Lascelles put them 2-1 up. Chelsea took kick-off. Within a minute, they found themselves 3-1 down. Joe Linton and then Anthony Gordon. Great finish. Giving Newcastle all 3 points and a great victory at home against Chelsea. Next up, very, very entertaining game at the City Ground. Nottingham Forest 2, Brighton 3. Alanga put Nottingham Forest 1-0 up after 3 minutes. Evan Ferguson equalised for Brighton. What a player he is. I think he'll be another player that Brighton will struggle to keep hold of in the summer. And then just before half-time, Pedro put Brighton 2-1 up. Second half, Pedro put Brighton 3-1 up. Lewis Dunk was sent off for 2 quick yellow cards. Bit of dissent. Clear to see what he thought of the referee. That's why he was sent off. And then Morgan Gibbs-White gets one back for Nottingham Forest. And you can see the celebrations from De Zerbi after a lengthy injury time with 10 men. It was a great victory on the road, and it meant a lot to De Zerbi. You know, they've had a mixed season, and it's a great victory on the road for Brighton. Next up, Bournemouth with a very comfortable 3-1 victory at Sheffield United. Another defeat for Sheffield United. They're finding it hard in the Premier League. Tavernier with 2 goals for Bournemouth. Justin Kluivert also scored. Burnley with a late consolation goal for Sheffield United. But look, if they've got any chance of staying up in the Premier League, these are the sort of games they need to be winning, but they're struggling. You know, by the time Burnley scored, I'm sure that the 4 Sheffield United fans that stayed behind to see it might have clapped him. But yeah, Sheffield United fans sort of give up in this game, went home. Don't blame them. Next up, the late kickoff on Saturday, Brentford versus Arsenal. Arsenal with a 1-0 victory. Well, not the greatest of games of football. You know, Kai Havertz with a late winner. Kai Havertz, you know, hasn't got a lot of many Arsenal supporters that back him. But, you know, they all got behind him. Well, most of them got behind him on Saturday as he scored the late winner. And yeah, this is Arsenal haven't really kicked into gear this season, but teams that win titles, these are the sort of games that they win, and these are the sort of victories that they grind out. And yes, another victory for Arsenal on the road. On Sunday, Super Sunday, 2 good games, Spurs versus Villa. Good game of football this, very entertaining. 2 teams that are trying to break the top 4, going toe-to-toe, and Aston Villa clinched it. Obviously, Tottenham, a lot of injuries going into this game and suspensions, but they did find themselves 1-0 up through Lo Celso. Torres equalised just before half-time. And yeah, it was, as I said, it was a game where Tottenham had a lot of chances. Villa had a lot of chances. Son got caught offside. The most I've ever seen someone get caught offside. But Ollie Watkins, great strike, got all 3 points for Aston Villa. And, you know, it is another defeat, 3 defeats in a row for Spurs, you know. And, it's... Villa with a great win on the road once again. But to finish off the weekend, Super Sunday, Everton versus Man United. Obviously, going into this game, a lot of talk about Everton and their 10-point deduction, which was a joke, very corrupt. The Everton fans made themselves loud, and it was a toxic atmosphere at the start of the game. And the best thing Man United could do was score early and silence the crowd. And Garnacho scored not only the goal of the weekend, not only the goal of the season, but probably one of the best Premier League goals you're ever going to see. Honestly, it was an unbelievable goal. The overhead kick, he had a lot of work to do, but what a goal, what a finish. And it's a goal that we're going to be seeing down the years in any top 10 goals of all time in the Premier League. I'm sure that he's going to be. It's going to take a lot to beat that. I've been lucky enough to see some great Premier League goals, great overhead kicks. Sinclair, Gareth Bale, Cristiano Ronaldo, Berbatov, Rooney. I've seen the Di Canio scissor kick. Some great goals down the years, but that tops it. Second half, Rashford with a penalty. Martial brought down. It was a penalty. Young, very lucky not to get a second yellow card. And then Martial, great bit of work from Fernandes, great ball, great finish, and it sealed the victory for Manchester United. And as I said in the last show, once again, they go very quiet about their business, but they're just creeping up the Premier League table. So that was the Premier League weekend, match day 13. There is still one game to play tonight. Fulham versus Wolves, Monday Night Football. Let's have a quick look at the Premier League table. As you can see, Arsenal still at the top. Tight, so tight. Look at that. Top four, very tight. Tottenham in 5th. As you can see, West Ham there in 9th. And at the bottom there, Burnley, closely followed by Everton and Sheffield United and Luton. Look at that, 9 points. Great return for them. Let's have a quick look at the charts. Erling Haaland, another goal for him. As you can see there, still out in front on 14. Mo Salah, Jarrod Bowen, and the usual suspects there. As we can see, there's a chart for the assists. James Ward-Prowse and Soufal still on there. Go on the Soufal. Clean sheets. Onana joint there with Sam Johnson and Nick Pope. That was it for match day 13. Let's have a quick look at match day 14. As you can see, there are some good fixtures to look forward to. Obviously, West Ham on the Sunday travel to entertain Crystal Palace at home. But there's some great games there. Chelsea versus Brighton, and to finish off the weekend, Man City versus Spurs, which should be a great game of football. But look, West Ham, we've got a big week coming up, massive week for us, back at Topola in the Europa League, and then Crystal Palace on the Sunday. So come on, your irons. We need 2 wins. Let's get 2 good performances, get the points in the Europa League and the Premier League, and let's put some smiles not only on my face but a lot of the fan base. Let's start getting rid of that negativity. Let's start bringing in the good performances. Let's start enjoying going and watching the team that we love once again. Before I end, I've done a few shows this year, and I seem to be doing this a lot more. As you get older, you start losing a lot of legends of the game. And yesterday, the news broke that Terry Venables sadly passed away, 80 years old. Growing up, for me, I'll always remember Euro 96 as my first real football tournament. I was too young in Italia 90. Obviously, we didn't make the World Cup in 94, but Euro 96 was the first tournament that I sort of really got into supporting England and enjoying it. And what a tournament, and what a character was sadly lost. Obviously, Dagenham boy, loved his singing. Obviously, won the FA Cup with Spurs as manager, managed Barcelona. In fact, he sold Maradona and brought in, I think it was Archibald, which was, mental at the time. But, when you think back to Euro 96, though, that game against Scotland, Holland, he was, as a lot of people have said, he was a manager well ahead of his time with his tactics, brought in the Christmas tree formation. You look at that team when we beat Holland that night, that we destroyed Holland, and Holland were one of the best footballing teams around at that time. And when you talk about his time in Barcelona, I see a picture yesterday and I'll bring it up now. As you look down there, that's a young Pep Guardiola looking up, a 15-year-old Pep looking up at Terry Venables. And I'm not saying that he had a huge impact on what Pep Guardiola's done, but I'm sure that he had some sort of impact, you know. And then you look, Euro 96, Gareth Southgate, you know, missed the penalty against Germany. But years later, he went on to manage England, Gareth Southgate, and he's had a great career as England manager. And you think that when we lost that final against Italy, Gareth Southgate was in Terry Venables' position, putting his arm around Saka, who missed the penalty. And it's mad how football works out. But Terry Venables had such a huge impact on these players and loads more players and the fans as well. And as I said, very sad loss for the world of football. My thoughts go out to his family, his friends, everyone, you know, that knew Terry Venables. And yeah, it was a huge loss, and a sad loss for football. And yeah, all I can say is, you know, thank you for Terry Venables for some great memories on a personal note. And Euro 96 will always be in my memory as the summer that football almost came home.